guys, it's Misty Eyez and
Nicole T. Phillips.
Hey girl, hey.
Hey girl.
Alright, so we have an Ask Misty for you. Hey Misty, this question is a bit personal, but here it go. How are you 100% certain you were transgendered? Nicole, you picked this question. You can go first.
I'm going first?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Okay, well, I guess it started off in my it started in my childhood, actually. First of all, when I was born, I was born prematurely, but when I was born, I came out, my mom, I didn't have a hole in my wee-wee.
You didn't have a hole?
I didn't have a hole.
Wow.
They had to make a hole in my wee-wee.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
you couldn't pee.
I couldn't do anything. So that could have been a sign, but whatever.
That was Yeah,
that was a sign to me. But I knew as a child growing up, I loved to play with dolls, and that's everybody's. That's a typical answer. But I knew. I know I like boys ever since I was like can remember. I like boys, and I always had girl tendencies. So I mean, I tried to have I tried to have a girlfriend. I tried to date and all that kind of stuff, but I related to the girls as a girl more than a boyfriend and a girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? I was more relatable that way. Even though we tried to have sex, whatever, it just never worked out properly. So I just really knew in the back of my mind that I was a girl. I liked everything girls did. I always did, and I don't know. It took a lot more years of me putting my courage up to accept the fact that I was a woman, but I've always felt like one, and people have always called me girl, and I feel more comfortable that way. I always say, you feel it in your heart and your spirit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's harder for certain people because you're in different places of the country or in the world, and you don't have the support that you need. But sometimes you have to look back into your heart and gain that support for yourself, and you can't always expect somebody to be there for you because it's gonna be hard, But these days, people have more of a chance.
It's more talked about.
Yeah, so my family was not supportive of me at all, honey. Mm-mm. My family wasn't supportive of drag, at least talking about being transgendered. I mean, the drag thing was too much for them. They're like, you're not gonna be who you think you are, RuPaul, and so it took years and years and years of me trying to convince myself and convince my family that what I was doing was the right decision. And finally, I came to the decision for myself. Fuck trying to make them convinced. I'm convinced. I know who I am. Mm-hmm. So fuck it, trying to convince them. Just be who you are and live your life. And that's when I knew I was 100% transgender. Well, at that moment when I said fuck trying to convince my family. I remember that day too. I was in Alabama. I was like, fuck this. Why am I trying to prove to them that I look good as a girl or I can live daytime? Or I was doing everything in the book trying to make them see I can do it like that. I can wear this, I can wear that. I cannot wear that much makeup. Because my mom was like, well, if you're going to be a woman, you can't wear that makeup you wear during your shows. So I just started doing shows. So you can't wear all that stuff, all that black and stuff on your eyes, and you're going to be trying to be a woman. That's just too much. And she was being truthful. But I finally realized, I'm like, you know what? I need to move away from my family, move away from all these other people who are trying to bring me down, and that encouraged me to do what I need to do for myself and go somewhere else where nobody knows me. Mm-hmm. And I start living my life the way I want to live. And that's when I moved to Nashville. And that's my whole life. My whole life changed. So, hey, that's when I knew I was 100%. All right, Misty, thank you guys for listening. Oh, I never told you about that before. Yeah. Oh, it was so cool. I've never told you about that before.
Yeah, I didn't know.
My mother calls me her daughter now, by the way, and my little brother who called me all kind of faggots and stuff calls me his sister. I'm now my mother's second daughter.
That's so sweet.
Yeah.
How long did it take for that to happen?
Oh my God.
About
19 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's 16 now. 1998 is when I first told her. So 18 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest with you, my story, it's just like Nicole, it started off as a very, 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 very early age. I always knew I was a girl. Always. I remember being super literal and telling my mama I was a girl. And she'd be like, no, you're a boy. And I'm like, no, I'm a girl. I'm a girl. Mama, I'm a girl. But I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know it was a possibility. So obviously, my mama didn't either. And she's like, no, you're a little boy. So then I'm the oldest of 7 kids, and there was 4 sisters. And I remember my sister Sonia had a skirt that spun all the way out. And I used to wear that skirt.
Like one of those?
Yeah. Like a ballerina spinning skirt.
Yeah.
But it went to her ankles. But I used to sit there and spin 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 and spin. And I loved the feeling of that flowing fabric on my legs. And I remember sitting and watching girls on the swings, and their hair would touch the ground. And I remember in PE class, the girls' ponytails would bob. And I just remember thinking, God, I was so jealous. Was so jealous. I remarried. Then when my mom got married to my stepdad,
Was you a kid then?
I was 13.
Oh, okay.
That's when the church got involved. And then it was basically, we need to pray this demon out of you, and this is a sin, and basically not as severe as an exorcist, but basically calling all the elders to pray for you, and it became a religious thing. So I suppressed it. And then when I came out of the closet as gay, it took me many, many years to do that. Because, again, the church and the Bible and my family and oppression and all this other things. I was very, very afraid to come out as homosexual. And then when I started to deal with my transgendered feelings of being trapped in the wrong body, people were like, no, you don't have to be trans now. You're gay. Men can like men. It's okay. They were trying to convince me that I thought I was transgendered because I thought I had to be a girl to like boys. And for a minute, I was like, oh, you're right. I'm gay and I'm proud. I don't have to be a woman. But then, years later, all those things started to resurface again when I started doing drag. And I started doing drag in 2002, 3-ish, full-time. I was full-time drag in 2005. And that's when I'm like, I'm a woman. I just knew it. I always knew it. But then I felt I waited too long. I already had my man face. I had my man shoulders. I had my man height. I had my man voice. I had already grew into my manliness. So it's too late to girls. Take their hormones when they're 14 and 15 years old.
Yeah.
They transition like April and Selena. They transition so much quicker and more perfectly, and they don't grow as tall. And I was like, well, I'm too tall now. I'll be a freak. And I didn't want to be a freak. So I just kept pushing those feelings back, saying, I don't want to be a creature feature. I will just be comfortable being a gay man. But I wasn't. So, just like we talked about earlier, I decided to go on hormones secretly.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want anybody to know. Because I've known so many girls, one just did it recently, that went on hormones for a couple years and then they realize it's too hard or it's not as easy as it looks or there's too much involved and it's...
So you didn't want anybody to know? Just in case you backed out.
In case I failed or in case I quit or in case I couldn't hack it. I didn't tell anybody because if I failed, I didn't want them to be like, oh, Misty thought she was a tranny and she's not. You don't think you're a tranny and then you're not. If you think you're a tranny, you're a tranny.
Exactly.
It's like being a gay man. It's genetic. If you think you're a gay man, you're a gay man. You don't just say, oh, I sucked dick for 2 years, now I'm going to go back to pussy. That doesn't happen. And so you go through all this life struggle of coming out to your family and coming out to your friends and becoming a tranny. That just doesn't happen. Oh, you can't afford laser hair removal. You can't afford your breast implant or you can't afford your body modifications. That is a very real struggle. Being a transgender woman is not cheap. Mm-hmm. So I started to do this and I was like, if I turn out to be a hideous, ugly woman, I'll stop. And I don't want anyone to know that I was trying. And then... after 3 years of being on hormones, people at Einstein Bagels in Chicago, or people in London, or people in places that I do not know people. I never counted Fort Lauderdale or South Florida because they all knew me as Misty, even when I was Dakota. But when I go out of town to Chicago and the bitch at Einstein Bagels clocks me as a woman, and I'm not trying to be a woman, my hormones are working, bitch, I'm passing as a woman and I'm not trying to.
Somebody convinced you.
Nicole was one of the people that helped convince me. She's like, Misty, you are fish. Stop putting on all the makeup. You look like a woman already. You don't have to put on all that. Because I was putting black hairspray on my head and going out to go sightseeing the Eiffel Tower and not the Eiffel Tower, the Sears Tower, and I'm putting on black hairspray. She's like, bitch, you can't do that in the daytime. But I'd go out in the daytime with Nicole, and she'd be like, only lip gloss. Just put on lip gloss. Just put on eyeliner.
She already got big ass lips, and she got big old soup coolers. She would have accentuated more, bitch, in the daytime, girl. And she's like, put a big old purple liner on top of them, girl.
Less is more, girl. Less is more. So I started to realize that, wow, my plastic surgery and my hormones are doing the makeup for me. Mm-hmm. And I've had laser hair removal. I don't have a beard. I don't need to wear all that cake makeup in the daytime. You know, she's like, Misty, just go out. So then she helped me with my transition with that too. But to answer your question, the way you know 100% you're transgender is the same way you know 100% that you're gay.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all you think about.
Yeah.
You know, if you're in high school and you're thinking about, oh God, how am I going to, what if I am, you are. If all you think about is dick or other boys and do they like me or whatever, you are. If all you think about is not fitting in or not being pretty or not being whatever, you are. Like, it's just a thing that you don't choose it. It chooses you.
You feel it down deep down in your bones. You feel it. It's all over you. It's all inside of you. No one can tell you. You tell yourself. You know within yourself. You know.
Yeah.
It's just something you feel.
And to be honest,
it's a weird feeling too, so.
It is a weird feeling. And to be honest with you, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
I know it has to be.
It is harder than coming out of the closet. And it's the most expensive journey. You know, you spend $8,000 here, you spend $6,000 there. Now I'm looking at a $33,000 surgery.
That's a brand new car.
It's not easy. And society and our families and our loved ones, you lose friends over it.
Yeah.
You lose relatives over it. But you know in your soul, basically like Nicole, I moved away from my family too, to become my own person. But it took a long time to actually find my own person. I saw once online, the definition of being successful is truly knowing who you are. Mm-hmm. And it took me a long time. I'm 40 years old now. And I'm just starting to crown my transition. I've been on hormones for 5 years, but I'm just now being comfortable in daytime realness in my skin. And it's been a very expensive, long journey, but it's worth it. Mm-hmm. Because you have to be you. You be you, darling.
You do you, boo-boo.
That's it. You can't live your life for other people. You can't live your life for the dream of being on TV on RuPaul's Drag Race. You can't live your life for a manager in a bar that says that if you become transgendered, you'll be fired. You can't live your life for these other people.
Nope.
You have to live your life for yourself, and that's it. At whatever else costs. Your family loves you or they don't love you. They might not call you daughter for 16, 19 years, but it'll eventually happen. I talked to one of I'm getting my breast implants a week from today.
Yay!
And I talked to two of my sisters to let them know, and one of them had me talk to her kids as Aunt Dakota.
Really?
She's like, her kids are real little though. And she's like, they know you as Uncle Cody, but if I just tell them you're Aunt Dakota, they won't even know. Let me just start having you talk to them on the phone as Aunt Dakota now. And then when they're old enough to realize what happened, because they don't live in Florida, it'll just be super easy.
That's cool.
Yeah. My other sister's kids, the last time I was in Alaska, they were really bothered by the fact that I was trying to pass as a woman.
Really?
I mean, as a man. Sorry.
Oh.
Because I was trying to pass as a man. And my nephew Isaac was like, Uncle Cody, why do you look like a girl? And I was like, well, I was trying so hard to look like a not girl. And I was like, well, why do you think I look like a girl, Isaac? And he goes, well, you don't have a beard. He couldn't think of anything. He's like, you don't have a beard. And so I talked to his mom on the phone this past week, and she's like, honey, he was so bothered by you trying to tell everyone you were a man when you weren't. He didn't think you were a man. And he was like, why are you trying to be a man? So when we left her house, he asked her 2 more times, why is Uncle Cody really a girl? And
what did she say?
She said she didn't tell her because she wasn't ready to tell her, but I said, Dina, next time he sees me, I'm going to have implants, and it's definitely a conversation you have to have. And she said, don't worry, it's going to be so easy to convince them because they already wanted to know why you look like a girl and was trying to tell them you were a boy. It'll be very easy. Don't worry. I'll tell them in my own mommy way. I said, honey, you can have them call me Uncle Cody. You can have them call me Aunt Dakota. Whatever you want, I will agree with what the mothers want. Because all my sisters are married to ministers. And I don't want my family to be upset. But at the same token, I don't care if you call me Aunt Dakota. I don't care if you call me Uncle Cody. But if we're at Golden Corral, for example, my family loves Golden Corral. You're at Golden Corral, and my little nephew or niece goes, Uncle Cody, and I turn around, that's going to cause a little bit of embarrassment. I don't care. I've grown used to people staring at me my whole life. Girls on buses or people in the mall or whatever. Even before I started transitioning, I had the XFactor is what people said. People were just drawn to me and had to look. And I'm okay with that. But it might embarrass my family.
Yeah.
Because once I do become really passable and unclockable, and my little nephew calls me Uncle Cody, then it's going to get weird. And even last year, my mom introduced me to everyone as, this is my son, this is my son, this is my son. And no boobs, well, I have hormone boobs, but no implants, no makeup, no fingernails. I took my fingernails off to go to Alaska. And strangers are looking at my mom and looking at me and looking at my mom and looking at me and going, okay, hi, son.
Whatever you say.
But I don't care. It's my mom. I'll always be her son.
Yeah.
One day, hopefully, she will, like your mother, switch pronouns.
Yes. That was, by the way, that was the best feeling I ever had in my whole life.
Did it catch you off guard?
Yep.
Did she tell you or warn you, or did you talk about it, or it just happened?
No, she just said it.
This is my daughter?
She told the insurance agent, the family insurance agent, on the phone.
In front of you?
Yeah.
This is my daughter.
My daughter's here visiting.
Did you cry? You were just taken aback?
Yeah.
Wow.
When my brother said his sister, that's when I was like...
Gagged. The brother that came to lips?
Yes. I was like... He said it, but this was years ago when he said this.
Yeah.
I was through after that.
There's light.
And then my mom sent a card to my house, said, daughter.
Yeah, my mom just sent me a birthday card saying, happy birthday to my son, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And she knows. I haven't actually sat down and said, Mom, but my family's not retarded. They're very observant. And my husband called me she the entire trip.
Of course he did.
He did not call me he once. And my whole family never corrected him and never asked questions. They just sat and watched. My cousins, however, did ask. They were like, my cousins were bothered because they thought he was using me. They're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what? My cousins are they're real like, they're not as Christian, is what I want to say. Yeah. I was going to say worldly, but that's not the word I want. They're like, what the fuck? And I'm like, what? He goes, this man is straight. I'm like, yes, I know that. Why is he with you? It's like, well... In Florida, I don't live as a man, and he doesn't see me as a man. What the fuck? That doesn't make any sense. Like, I'm transgendered.
And what is it then?
Oh. Well, what do you want to be called? Do you want to be called Dakota or Misty or what the fuck? I said, honey, you're my cousin and I love you, and I don't care what you call me.
But you don't have to change your name, girl.
I'm not going to.
No.
I'm going to leave my name legally. I'm going to change my middle name because my middle name is very masculine.
Okay.
After I get my implants, my doctor's going to give me a note to take to the license branch to change my name and my sex. I'm just going to change my middle name and my sex.
But don't you go to the courthouse for that?
Yeah, but the letter you have to get from the plastic surgeon.
Okay.
Or a legal doctorate. But anyways, that's how we know 100%.
Yeah, we were like totally off track, didn't we? But that was a good one, though.
Yeah, that was a good one. I'm glad you were here to answer that one.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was Misty Eyez and
Nicole T. Phillips.
Loving You Is Easy.
See you later.
I just wanted to finish that one because